Hey guys, it's Chris. From books that can't be punctured to important things in your home, join me as I reveal 9 things that are practically indestructible. Number 9. Keyboards. In the age of technology that we live in, few things take more abuse than the keyboards at our computers. Regardless of whether you're a typist, a gamer, a writer, or something in between, you're constantly pounding the keyboard at your desk, whether it be for work or fun, whatever you need to do. But over time, the keys wear away. And sometimes you even break a key or two, forcing you to replace the whole keyboard immediately. However, companies like Grandtech USA have fixed this problem by making a virtually indestructible keyboard. Unlike most keyboards, this one isn't rigid or made of hardened plastic. It's made of a silicone mesh of sorts that allows it to not just resist water, cleaning solutions, and more, it's also foldable. You can even roll it up and transport it with you wherever you go. This solution is well worth the price, which is only $20 for a single one. And since it hooks up to a computer via USB cable, it means that it can be used on virtually any computer, all while giving the comfort of knowing that the daily use and potentially the daily accidents won't ruin the keyboard as you're typing on it. Number 8. Indestructibles. These are actually books. When a child is young, they have certain impulses that need to be curbed, and one of the most important impulses of the bunch is the desire to destroy just about everything in sight. For a parent, reading a book to their children that can't be destroyed by their children is very handy. Enter the company that made Indestructibles. Indestructibles are books built for the way babies read, with their hands and mouths. Chew-proof, rip-proof, and drool-proof, they're printed on a unique 100% non-toxic paper-like material that holds up to basically anything babies can throw at them. That's not their only qualifications, though. These books are also 100% waterproof and puncture-proof, thus making it something that can last a long time and even be handed down through the generations. And should the books get dirty in some fashion, you can just wash them off and make them clean again. The product was made by Amy Pixton, who's a mother of 3 herself and knew far too well the destructive power of her children. The potential for this, though, can go beyond basic children's books. If all books were made this way, it could lead to less destruction amongst them, as well as enhanced reading. Number 7. George Foreman Grill. When it comes to celebrity-endorsed products, you're usually at risk of getting an inferior product that was made and endorsed solely to get money. But as revealed in 1994, the George Foreman grill was not that. Michael Bayham wanted to make a grill that would work inside the house, cooking things more easily, and even knock off the fat of the burger by draining the juice into a place that wouldn't affect the meat. He worked on this project for years before taking it to George Foreman as a potential partnership project. What many didn't realize at first, though, was that while the grill did everything it promised, it was also a grill that was really easy to maintain and incredibly hard to break. Add to that its long-lasting nature, and the company that makes them now is technically facing competition from itself, as the ones sold many years ago are still holding up against the ones made now. So people who already have them don't need to buy another since their original still works, which is a very unique business issue. Granted, their sales aren't terrible. They've sold over 100 million of them over the years, but you could argue that if it wasn't so indestructible, they probably would have sold even more. As some have noted, leave it to a boxer to endorse a product that can take a beating and keep on going. Number 6. One World Football. Sports teams go through many different types of sports equipment over the course of their various seasons. Balls deflate, sticks break, treads get worn thin, etc. In soccer, or football if you're in Europe and literally the rest of the world, the constant pounding of feet on a soccer ball can be very damaging over time to the ball itself, thus making it so many teams have to have bags full of balls in case they get deflated. However, then One World Football was created. But not for professional sports. It was first made to be used for humanitarian reasons, for children in countries that had really rough terrain and would make soccer balls deflate really quickly after they arrived. The intent was to make a soccer ball that could be punctured and yet not deflate. The One World Football was made with a special kind of foam, one that's similarly used in shoes known as Crocs. You can stab and puncture the One World Football all you want and it's not going to deflate. In fact, it'll reinflate almost immediately after a stabbing has occurred. Despite being used for humanitarian reasons, many soccer and football clubs all over the world use them for practice. Number 5. Cast iron pan. You may not realize it at times, but there are various things in your kitchen that have to be replaced on a somewhat frequent basis. One of the biggest things is utensils and pans that you cook meals with. Via the various cooking oils and foods that you use, the pans and dishes and utensils get stained, warped, and sometimes even melted. Not to mention glass dishes can be shattered. The sole exception to this is the cast iron pan. These legendary pans are known to not just last, they're also known to last decades because of the simplicity of their construction. They're literally a piece of cast iron that's been warped and molded into the shape of a frying pan. You can use it easily, and it's very easy to clean, so long as you don't leave the food in it for too long, and it can be used over and over and over again without any issue. Believe it or not, there are people who hand down their cast iron pans to their children, and then them to their children. There are cast iron pans from the 1850s that are still in use today. Number 4. Lego bricks. If you have a child or know someone who has a child that has Lego bricks, then you know that one of the things you must not do is step on them while barefoot. The rather sharp and blunt bricks may be great for making things from a child's imagination, but they're also very harmful when used incorrectly. But what you might not realize regarding the construction of the Lego bricks is that these were things that were truly meant to last. Not just in terms of time, but also endurance. The simple Lego brick can withstand a force of about 900 pounds of pressure, which means that a human being could try and smash it with various objects and it wouldn't break. They could stand on it and it would hold them up without much effort. What's more, they're not an object that can wither away. So if you were to stumble upon an old collection of Legos, you'd be able to merge them with your new collection or new versions and they would work just as well. The Lego company has refined their process so well that only about 18 out of every million molded bricks gets thrown away because of defects. I can attest to how great these are. All the Legos that I had from when I was a child got passed down to my nephew, who's now 13, and he's used them his entire life. Number 3. Nokia 3210-3310. Ask any teenager or young adult what their worst fear is in the world today, and many of them will likely say losing my phone or having my phone break. Yet despite technology as it is right now, many people can't help but break their phones. Yet in 1999 and then in 2000, a nearly indestructible phone was made in the form of the Nokia 3210 and 3310. Given the time period, there was nothing really fancy about these cell phones. Everything was in the basic form of cell phones at the time, meaning no touchscreen, no voice-activated system, they were just phones. But what it did have in spades was durability. So much so that when people realized just how durable they were, they started to test them. And this caused a viral sensation on the internet. People have dropped them from 3-story buildings, and even given them a pounding with a sledgehammer. Yet no damage was found on the phones afterwards. What's more, many people in recent years have tested to see if the phones still work, and they do. And the reason for the durability is pretty simple. Nokia put them through rigorous stress testing in order to make sure they could take pretty much any damage. Number 2. F1 racing helmets. If sports has taught us anything, it's that protection from various impacts are important. And when you don't have them, it leaves you open to some serious injuries. In the high-speed racing of F1, drivers are almost always under the threat of collision, which can send their cars careening into walls, flying into the air, and more. Over the years, the helmets for drivers have gotten more and more advanced in terms of their protection. The F1 racing helmets, though, are the pinnacle of that protection, because now the drivers can wear them knowing they can withstand fires over 1400 degrees Fahrenheit, which is much hotter than any fire in a car would get barring an explosion, and kinda even then, as well as survive against the worst of impacts without so much as a crack. That's the kind of protection you just don't skimp on. And it's very fair to say that ever since implementing this version of the helmet, many drivers' lives have been saved. And improvements are no doubt still being made to ensure further safety. Number 1. Polaris Never Flat Tires. Tires on various vehicles need all sorts of protection, but a constant threat they face is the notion of getting a puncture somewhere and then going flat. Or worse, blowing out in some way and causing all sorts of damage to anything nearby. There have been various versions of indestructible tires in the past, but the Polaris Never Flat tires may just be the cream of the crop. They were made for production back in 2013. and they're actually an airless tire. The tire features a durable honeycomb core bordered by a thick rubber tread. This allows for not just strength, but also extreme durability. And when strapped onto things like an ATV, which Polaris also makes, they can help tow over 1,500 pounds across all sorts of terrain without much issue. Not to be outdone, the tire can also take a hit from a .50 caliber bullet and be totally fine, thus ensuring it can last through all sorts of situations the driver might put it through. And since there's no air in the tires, they never have to be afraid of deflating. Thanks for watching. What did you think of these nearly indestructible objects? Do you know of any other product that could easily have made this list? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe to World List, and I'll see you next time.